what's most shocking about season 2 is that it's completely different. It's also in the house. It's also spooky, but it's certainly, if season 1 was about ghosts and trauma, season 2 is about love and envy and loss.
Where is she?
Haunting of Hill House was such a smash success, and now here we are 2 years later with The Haunting of Bly Manor. A lot of familiar faces, but a very different storyline. I'm so excited that we get to talk about episode 8. When you first read the episode, what was your initial reaction?
Oh my gosh. So I, at the time, had a brand new baby. I had just had a baby after Hill House, and I didn't know if I was going to be in Bly. Like I said, we'd been waiting and I didn't know. And so one day Mike invited me into the writer's room, and I sat down, and Leah pitched the entire story of episode 8. She just told it to me right there. And I don't mean to be as dramatic as I am, but I am. So I cried. I thought it was just such a heartbreaking story. I have a sister who's very close to me. I love her dearly, and to feel so seen, to have that love story, the love story of two sisters be told, is something that I think many people can relate to and don't see very often.
So it seems like when you were in the writer's room, they had the entire plan fully fleshed out.
Yeah, they broke that whole season together. They knew everything.
Well, what were the biggest questions that you still had for your character once you first learned her whole backstory?
The thing I needed to know and needed to work out was how much she loved Arthur. Did she love Arthur? Was she using Arthur? What was her plan? What was the whole Arthur backstory of it? I also kind of wanted to figure out what happened to Viola's mother. I wanted those things that aren't quite answered because they're not necessarily important to the story we're telling in 208, but are important to me as the actor.
Do you see her? I only see you.
Let's talk about the body snatching, because I feel like we need to establish some rules, and I was wondering if you could help me with this.
Absolutely.
So the phrase "it's you, it's me, it's us" allows a spirit to kind of merge with your body.
Yes.
But we got to see that Flora and Miles were eventually able to kind of take back control of their mind and push Rebecca and Peter out.
Yeah.
Why do you think that Danny wasn't able to completely push the Lady in the Lake out of her?
Well, I think Viola, as a stubborn, full-grown, passionate woman, has a bit more spiritual weight than the children. Mm-hmm. Also, Viola created this game, so she can change the rules or move and go things because she knows the inner workings. She's the watchmaker, so she can open it up and move the gears around. And so I think Viola was cutting Danny off at every turn.
And so at the end of the series, we see that Danny is now in the lake, like so many others before her, but that the Lady in the Lake never returns. What was your reaction when you learned that we kind of had a bit of a bittersweet happy ending?
I loved that. I thought that it was such a correct ending for Viola, because she really is a monster, let's not forget. Even though she loves her daughter completely and would have done anything to get her, include kill lots and lots of people. But at the end, when she sees that she's come between another true love story, I think she leaves. I think she realizes that she has to give it up because she is hurting the very thing she was fighting for, which is true love.
I love that people are going to fall so head over heels for Danny and Jamie's relationship. This love story is so gorgeous. When Danny had Viola in her and she was able to have all those extra years with Jamie, do you really feel like that was purely Danny, or was Viola kind of part of their relationship? What do you think?
I mean, I'm down for a throuple, but I'm not sure that was really there. I think Viola's too long gone for that. She's not really experiencing human emotions, and I wouldn't want to take away from the true love of those two women.
I love that you said that she's too far gone for that. We definitely saw that physically with her as we lost her face over the years, which was so haunting. But I'm curious, were you always the Lady in the Lake when we saw her throughout the series? Was there a body double? Like, break that down for me.
I had a wonderful body double. It's a stunt woman and performer named Daniela Dibb. And because, like I had said, I had a young baby at home, I could not fly up to Vancouver and gallivant in the middle of the night as much as I wanted to. I was not capable of doing that. I was breastfeeding. So I guess I was gallivanting in the middle of the night just in my own house as opposed to Bly Manor. So Daniela did a lot of that body double work for me. And I did some of it once I got up there to shoot episode 8. I was able to kind of step in and do a bit of the work, but she took the lion's share of that hard time.
She stepped in most of the mud.
Yeah. Very cold mud, very cold.
I can imagine. And for it to track that far, I'm like, wow, she was really trudging through it.
Really trudging through it.
But when you did get to act out those scenes, like I said, it's so haunting with that faceless effect. Was that done in post? Was it a makeup effect? Like, walk me through that.
There are 2 ways it's done. One is through post. It's totally done in special effects. But the other is there is a silicone mask that has its eyes cut out and like a little slit for the nose, for the mouth, and then 2 little holes for the nose. And so it starts that way, and then that helps effects do it. But it's very creepy and very heavy.
I was going to say, what did that feel like? Did you get claustrophobic at all?
But not every job is great all the time.
Exactly. You gotta push through it. I was very curious when we saw that Viola found the child in her bed, and then we realized that was the same child that was moving the figurines in the dollhouse. Was the child, when they were moving the figurines, dictating which way the Lady in the Lake's route would go, or was he merely like kind of letting Flora know where she was?
He's letting Flora know. So the doll-faced boy, because Flora gave him a face in a story, he then repaid that by making sure she knew where all the ghosts were. And that's how her and Miles could save Danny every time they did. By being like, I need a nighttime story. I need some more milk. They were able to keep
I'm going to banish you to the closet.
Yeah, you're going to get locked in a closet now. So good. Victoria just nails that. It was so scary. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I had the pleasure of speaking with Victoria, and she was saying that the one thing that she was bummed about this season is that she barely got to spend time with you.
I know. Victoria and I go back to like the very, very, very first days of Hill House. I picked her up to drive her to her screen test because she was so brand new and she was in LA and she didn't have a car. And she was just, she's just sweetness and light. She's so talented. I'm so proud of her for all that she's done.
I love the fact that you are married to the brilliant Mike Flanagan,
yes,
who also is the executive producer on Hill House and Bly Manor. So I'm curious to know, do you get spoilers during your pillow talk? How privy are you to the new seasons and storylines?
The only pillow talk I like is spoiler pillow talk. There's so many wonderful things about being married to Mike, but I would say getting to hear his stories first is one of them.
So do you kind of get to have like dibs on like, I would love to play that character? Like, how does that work out?
I don't do that anymore. I think it's a little bit, I don't know, inappropriate. A lot of people ask him for jobs, and I'm just like, he clearly knows I'm an actress. He knows what I do. And so I kind of just wait. And it always it's fun because I know it's like Christmas. I don't know what Mike has planned for me. And then when he decides he wants me to do something, I'm ready to be there.
Do you get to know like the full arc right away, or does he like to leave you little breadcrumbs?
He'll give me all the information he has, luckily, because otherwise I would just bug him until he gave it to me.
And you've watched the whole season?
I got that benefit. For the first time in my life, I got to watch a Mike Flanagan story from beginning to end and only know what I was going to be a part of. I was riveted. I binged the whole thing.
Oh, wait, so you only knew your part?
Well, I sort of knew the story, but I didn't want to read any of the other scripts. And I didn't want to know the little day-to-day minutia of the story. I just wanted to know what I needed to know so that I could have this exact experience, which is I get to watch the season. And, I'm such a super fan of Mike's to begin with. It was, so exciting. What a gift.
What was your reaction when you realized the big twist at the end is that the narrator was actually Jamie, the gardener?
I love that. First of all, I'm a huge Carla Gugino fan. And so the second I saw her on screen, I was like, I know something's going on here. And it was really fun. That and finding out that Mrs. Gross was a ghost. Those scenes in the kitchen where she's just doing it over and over again and Raoul is just kind of leading her through it. Oh, I loved that.
I've got to ask you about what you possibly know about season 3, fingers crossed, for the next Haunting season.
It's very important to me to stay married, and so I just can't reveal anything.
But there at least is something to reveal. Mike has a plan, I'm sure. How about this? Would you be open to returning
Without a
for
doubt.
Haunting season 3? Yes?
When anyone needs me, I'll be there.
I love that. Well, okay, so I have a bit of like an investigative question for you.
Oh, fun.
So, as you mentioned, you had a little baby when you were filming Bly Manor, and you have a little girl, and her name is Theodora Isabel Irene Flanagan.
Yes.
Now, obviously, you played Theo in Hill House.
Yes.
Your character's daughter is Isabel in Bly Manor.
Yes.
Could we expect to see some type of Irene connection for season 3?
Oh, that hasn't happened, but I will pitch it. That's a good one for sure.
Yeah. Some kind of a little connect. Gotta keep it in the family.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Theo's not going to have enough identity issues to begin with. He's like, Mom, that's so weird. You named me after your own character.
It was an amazing character. I think about Theo all the time. I think about what she's doing. I thought that it was such a cool use of supernatural powers in such a real world.
Just in case you're wondering, Theo is now a social worker in Portland.
Okay, I was. Is she still together?
Absolutely. And they have a little daughter. This is what I think about when I can't sleep. I miss Theo and I think about her all the time. And when I get stuck in my own life, I'm like, what would Theo do? And the answer is always drink vodka. But after drink vodka, it is a better choice than what I was going to make. And so I have this whole life for her that happens in my head in Portland. She's having a great time too.
I feel like Theo would borrow your nail art because now that she's living a gloveless life, she wants to show him off.
There's this whole backstory that I had that I would joke with Mike about during season 1, which is that Theo spent years and years and years and years and years finding a manicurist, someone who just is a nice person, who thinks happy thoughts. And so she kind of goes there the way other people would go to a bar, and she just holds her hands and she just thinks happy thoughts and gets her nails done. But then it took her so long and she kept walking out of nail salons, just storming out.
Wait, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that you still think about Theo a lot. Would you ever want to revisit her, or do you feel like she had just such a perfect ending that you almost don't want to disturb it?
She just doesn't want to come back. It was too much. It was too much as a child. It was too much as an adult. She wants her anonymity. And I think it would be cruel of us to force Theo to live her life in the spotlight again.
One day. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Well, lastly, it is spooky season. How are you and your family going to be celebrating Halloween this year?
Well, we will be doing a very responsible, socially distanced Halloween in our house where I have a nanny that works with us because we're doing work right now, and me and Mike, and we will have little stations of trick-or-treating, and the kids will get to go and get candy.
I love that. Oh,
Yeah.
That's amazing. Well, Kate, thank you so much for letting me pick your brain on
Always,
all these
I
different
love
aspects.
They're great questions. Thank you. Very thoughtful questions.
Oh, thank you so much. No, I loved the season. And I found that watching the season twice made me like it even more because I was expecting it to scare me as much as Hill House did, and it didn't. So I was kind of confused. And then I just realized that you pick up on so much more the more you watch it.
And I think that's what people forget about season 1. Everyone felt that way about season 1. They were like, what is this new genre that's like drama, but sort of scary? And you had to get used to it. And then you have to go back and experience it. It's like a totally new game.
I'm sorry. I told you. The story wasn't exactly short.